Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope you all are doing well today. Listen, you are back for another episode of the Two Young Pastors podcast
Mhm.
with myself, Juwan Sanders, and my good friend, my brother, Pastor Elijah Stanley. We're two
Hey, yo.
young pastors, and here we simply talk about various things that are happening in our lives, are happening within the world of the church, and how it intersects with culture around us. And of course, you know that Tuesdays are those days where we talk about our top
Mhm.
five short episodes to give you the good content, but in a much smaller pace. And so, listen, y'all. Today we got a good topic. We got a really good
Yeah.
topic, and we're talking about five must haves if you are trying to jumpstart your faith journey. Okay, if you're an individual who is indeed trying to get your faith journey started for the first time,
Mhm.
or maybe you're a person who is trying to come up out of a slump, and rather than jump starting for the first time, you're trying to restart that faith journey. Listen, we believe that some these five things that we're going to present to you today, they're simple, but
Mhm.
they're good considerations that can bless you along the way. And so, Elijah, talk to us about the first one
Yes,
that we got.
sir. Man,
Official.
our first must have to restart your faith journey is simple, man. It's you want to have a faith circle.
Mm,
We have been talking a lot about how our personal successes have come through really surrounding ourselves with individuals that are continuing to be more like Jesus, continuing to strive in their spirituality. What we're not saying is to surround yourself with people that think they're perfect.
yeah.
You want to surround yourself with people that are in the process of growing as well.
Mhm.
You want to not cut off anybody right away. You
Yeah.
want to make sure at least that you're adding people into your circle that prioritize spiritual health, just like how you would join a run club, just like how you would join the gym or go out and get classes on how to cook, right? You want to go ahead and join those social groups, join a church maybe, uh, uh, if you found one. You want to just join a faith circle
Mhm.
to make sure that they're keeping you accountable, but also it just encourage you as well. Jawan, what's really interesting, bro, is that you become more and more like the
Yeah.
people you surround yourself with. So
Good.
you want to surround yourself with people that you want to eventually resemble a part of what their spirituality looks like. So that's what we mean by a faith circle. Bro, when I say faith circle, what does that mean to you?
Man, it really is that accountability, and it's the tight knit people. Even Jesus, he had, of course, had 12 disciples, and of course, these are individuals who he was teaching, but he had 12 disciples, but he also had an inner circle. He had
Yeah.
three other disciples that were closer, who he allowed in to know more and to
Hmm.
experience more of him. And when I think of like this faith circle, I really think of like the people who you are allowing to have just a little bit more access to you, because Elijah, not everyone can have as much access to you as certain key people. There's going to be certain things in your faith walk that will be challenging, certain questions that you're not going to feel comfortable
Mm,
asking just anyone, which is why you're going to need some really good people who you
yeah.
can trust to be confidential, who you can trust to also give you like actual truth, not just what they think, but what they believe the Bible is sharing and telling us. And so when I think of that, that's exactly what I think of. And I think of what we have in ministry. We have several coworkers, several people who work in our area. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we've given them access to certain parts of our lives in the same way that you and I have given to each.
Mm,
And
that's
so
true.
that's what I think of when I think of
That's true.
having a faith circle, bro. I
That's
do.
true. That's true. But hey, man, that's the first one. What's the second must have as you're trying to jumpstart your spiritual life?
Yeah, dude. Man, in addition to making sure that you have that faith circle, I think it's very important that you develop and that you must have a devotional plan. You
Mm,
gotta have a devotional plan. Of course, reading the Bible is going to be one of the crucial things that you do when you get back into your relationship with God. But it's not just about reading the Bible. It's about making sure that you are indeed cultivating a process and a workflow for you to encounter God in a meaningful way that works for you.
mhm.
And so one day your devotional plan might say that, hey, today I'm reading this book of the Bible. The next day, it could be you singing songs and spending time in worship. The third day, it could be you watching a sermon. Whatever helps you spend time with God and build with God, it's something that you need to do. And so if you have that devotional plan where you're slowly but surely increasing as time goes on, it will indeed help you, kind of sort of like at the gym. One of the things that a lot of individuals say is, hey, if you're lifting a certain weight in 1 week, the next month you should indeed be increasing it, and there should
Mm,
be some growth that's taking place. This is the same thing that should happen with your devotional plan. That if you start, let's say, one verse one day, the next month you possibly at least should be reading 5 verses a day. If you're
mm,
starting with one song one in 1 month, it probably should expand to 3 songs, knowing 3 songs now. And if
yeah.
your prayer was possibly one sentence at one point in time, your prayer should probably be about 5 sentences the next month or the
Mm,
next week. And so it's just about progressive overload, progressive growth, that you're actually trying to make sure that you indeed grow. You know what I'm
mm.
saying, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. A devotional time, bro, is and we were talking about this list before we started record. Is something that is crucial in you understanding what the Word of God says, man. Because a lot of time, what dulls our spiritual life is it seems like we're waiting for an answer from God, when really a lot of those answers are in Scripture, and the reason that we can't find them is because we're not setting a specific time to read and a lot of the times we're just hearing individuals that have read, and then we're going off what their knowledge is. But you want to get the source material. And
That's it.
talking about getting to the source material, bro, our third must have in restarting your spiritual journey
Yep.
is a schedule.
Mhm.
You need to have a schedule. You must have a schedule. Now, Joan, you and I were talking about this
Yep.
back and forth again uh, before this. What we're saying is, man, a lot of the things I've heard from people saying that they can't keep up or have that progressive overload in
Yeah.
their spiritual walk is because they don't have time to do certain things.
Yeah.
And we talked about in a previous episode that we really do have a lot of time, but what we're doing is we're not we're not always maximizing the minutes and the hours that we have in our day. And what I mean by that is you can go to bed a little bit earlier and wake up and have that morning devotion if you schedule out your day. If you're able to schedule out your day, you can put in that devotional time with God. But also, you need to have a prayer time with God as well, because there's time you need to spend in your word, and there's time you need to be talking and speaking with God, and time you just need to sit in His presence, and
Yeah.
time you need to have worship. So, a schedule really encompasses everything. It's a holistic way of looking at your day,
Sure
putting in
is.
physical activity, right? Putting in good habits and building in how to eat, building in time for proper Bible study, building in time to be with that faith circle. Having a proper schedule helps you eliminate having the repeat cycle of your spiritual life dying. And I do believe, man, that a lot of our spiritual lives have died in the past,
Mhm.
or are slowly declining because
Mhm.
we're just neglecting scheduling our lives out.
Yeah.
And just one last thing I say, bro, before I ask you what a schedule means to you is uh a a good schedule, man, is not giving God a check-in and a check-out time.
That's
Right?
good.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not what the purpose of a schedule is. The
Yeah.
purpose of a schedule is to hold yourself personally responsible
Mhm.
for your time so that you can achieve everything you want to achieve in your day. So
You said
that's just the last thing I'll say about schedule, bro.
yeah.
How
That was
about you, man?
Man, honestly, that was actually great. I don't think I could have said it any better than that. Like you really said it. And see, I think that creating that schedule is so important, because I think it really helps us to do lead us into the number four, the
Mhm.
number four item on our list, right? That fourth must have, I believe, some individuals are not able to actually read their Bible and spend time with God in their daily schedule because they don't have the right Bible translation, bro.
Mm,
This is something that I think many individuals like they underestimate the importance of the right Bible translation.
yeah,
Here's the thing, we need as many barriers of entry to be removed as possible when we're trying to jumpstart our faith walk.
true.
We need it to be as convenient as possible, as easy as possible, to make sure that we get as much accomplished as possible. And
Hmm.
so the truth is that there are some of us who have stopped reading the Bible because we got tired of the thous and the thuses, and to a certain extent, man, like I know I can enjoy a good shall, but after a certain while, like shall is going to get tiring. Why? Because it's not how we talk today.
Yeah.
And so the reality is that we need a good Bible translation because if it can flow and if it feels familiar, it's going to be easier for us to read. Like we're
Mm,
already reading and trying to learn about people who lived in a different time period with different values and a different culture.
mhm.
It's going to be difficult trying to read it according to how they
Yeah,
would have said it as
that's
well.
true.
And so, man, what helps with you like maintaining that schedule and making sure that you're getting the most out of the time that you set aside for God is making sure that you indeed have that right Bible translation. And here's just something I hope is good to you. The message Bible, it's one that some individuals will downplay, but
Mm,
listen, like we're talking about giving you a good roadmap on your way to success. The
mhm,
Messenger Bible is not the Messenger Bible is not necessarily the Messenger Bible is not necessarily the end all be all,
mhm.
but the Messenger Bible indeed is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so you just need to make sure that you're starting somewhere, whether it's message, whether it's the New Living Translation, whether it's the New International Version. Start somewhere that feels easy so that you can build and build and build. And before you know it, bro, you might be reading multiple translations because sometimes the right translation
Mm,
hit you in the right way. So
yeah.
that's what I would say, man. Would you add anything to that?
Man, no, like you captured it. I actually have started to preach out of the Message
Really?
translation,
Yeah,
because it just reads better, for a lot of the things that we do, especially if we're asking people to read out loud with us. Having a ye and a thou and a shalt
yeah,
is is tough. It's
yeah,
tough. It's tough. But I will say that I do a lot of my actual prep time
yeah,
in the English Standard Version and in the New American Standard Bible is where I do a lot of my prep. But
yeah,
in order to make it preach better, the Message or the Good News, listen, all these different translation
yeah,
are just there to help you understand it.
yeah,
So I love what you said, man. The final thing that we believe that you need to have in order to jumpstart your spiritual life, in order to restart it, is simply the Sabbath. You need to have the Sabbath, and what I mean by the Sabbath is what the Bible calls it, that full day with God. If God in the creation narrative set aside a time in a perfect world, a full day to spend time with him to rest. How much more do we need it in an imperfect world that's filled with chaos, y'all?
mhm,
You need to have that time with God,
yeah,
not just a scheduled hour, but a full 24 hours, a full day set aside, spending doing things of God. A lot of times, Sabbath looks like not just being at church in the morning or all throughout the day, but Sabbath sometimes also looks like spending time with the family
yeah,
that you might not have had time during the week to spend time with,
yeah,
because we also experience God through our families,
yep,
experiencing God through multiple avenues. And if you have a really good schedule with your devotional life, your prayer time, and everything else, the Sabbath is like that. Is like the dessert at the end of the week, where
yeah,
you're able to fully experience that full rest, family, friends, church. your faith circle, everything just coming together. And Joanna, I gotta say, the Sabbath did not make a lot of sense to me growing up because I wasn't as busy or stressed out as I thought I was.
Yeah,
So as
yeah,
a kid, I was like, "What's the Sabbath got to do with?" Or it's a Saturday. I can't spend time with the friends I would like to, or doing the things I want to do. And
mhm,
as I got older, and as I figured out that there is no summer vacation in a adult lifestyle, right? There is no 3 months off. There is no spring break. There is no breaks at the end of the year. It's you get PTO days, and you only get a certain amount, and that's it.
yeah,
And Sabbath helps to elevate your week no
yeah,
matter where it's been. So you need to have a Sabbath. Man, of our of our five, right? Every one of them is essential, but number five is the one that God prescribes as well, right?
yep.
It's the one that God says, "Hey, you need to have your Sabbath with me as well, man." Bro, before we end this episode, what else would you talk about the Sabbath? And is there anything else that we need to keep in mind as we're trying to restart our spiritual life?
Dude, I mean, Sabbath is just a great opportunity for you to be able to spend time with other believers, and worship. On our Sabbath on Saturday, we indeed go to church every single week, and it's a great opportunity to be surrounded by like-minded believers.
Hmm.
So the expanded group, the
Yeah.
expanded faith group, and then you have an opportunity to receive teaching from spiritual leaders, possibly participate. And I think, man, whenever you have an opportunity to simply be reminded of God, having that day, where you're primarily focused on God
Hmm.
and on things that relate to God, I think it really helps you for the upcoming week. It really is that rejuvenation to
Hmm.
give you, the energy that you need, the spiritual energy at that you need to carry you throughout the week, so that you can be solid and then get the respite, get that
Hmm.
recharge that you need the upcoming Saturday. So, man, I really do think that it is that simple, and I believe that if individuals learn how to Sabbath well, learn how to
Mm.
rest well, I really do believe that it can truly transform their spiritual lives for the better. That's all I
Yeah.
would say.
Man, we hope this helps someone that's listening. If you know someone that needs to have their spiritual life recharged, jump started, share
Yeah.
this episode with them. Again, y'all, we're on pretty much every podcasting uh
Yeah.
platform out there. We're on YouTube as well. You want to like, share, and subscribe, and share this with someone in the comments. Put down what are some of the ways that you would spiritually restart. If someone came up to you and asked you, "Hey, I need to get my spiritual life back in order," what advice would you give them? And are there any ones on the list that you would not have thought of to give
Yeah.
as advice to start off your spiritual life? Joanne, it's always a privilege, man.
Yes, sir.
I know that God is going to use us, continue, and we're hoping that this blesses you at home as well. Y'all will
Yeah.
catch you in the next one. See y'all later.
See you later.